Hey, welcome back to Biz Talk TV. I'm your business host and guide, Michael Rager, and we got a new guest with us today. He's actually in studio, so I get to talk to somebody sitting next to me. David Mossberg, the Pocket Protector. Man, David, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Michael?
All right, so we're going to get into this. We're going to talk about a little bit of this. You really help business owners, boost profits and worry about their money. It's the non-sexy stuff. It's some business owners do not want to deal with. So you're there, you're doing what you do. What's the number one challenge you're seeing right now business owners come in when it comes into managing money and making sure they have profit?
Yeah, that's a great question, Michael. You know, the number one thing that we focus on right off the bat is cash management. You know, we have one rule when we talk about business owners and we tell people who are thinking about opening a business or anything like that, we have one big rule and it's called DROOM, don't run out of money, right? And so many people are focused on what they do every day. I've been in restaurants that are busy as could be, losing tons of money. So the more people coming in the door, the more they're losing. I've seen manufacturing environments, I've seen service providers working so hard and have no idea that they're not making money. So they gotta make sure that that cash flow is managed, make sure that somebody's paying attention to it. Most people aren't tooled to do that. And so they need to make sure they're partnering with someone in their company, outside their company, but someone who's a good accountability partner, someone who will tell them the truth, even if it's not good. And so that way they can focus on making sure they don't run out of money.
Man, it's really funny is, in my industry, being a business coach, you got everybody out there, all these people are business coaches now, right? And they all focus on marketing. And here it is, they don't understand, can the company take on more clients?
Right.
I had a client early on, rug cleaning company, right? I walked through and talked to their COO and said, hey, we're gonna turn on the marketing machine, right? We're gonna make 20, and he just looked at me deer in the head like, dude, we can't make this happen.
Yeah.
Because there's if you market, you can actually put a company out of business.
Absolutely.
Doing it right. So how do you help them look at cash flow, and how do you help them figure out, hey, I do have money and I'm not gonna droom?
Right. Yeah, so I think the first thing is just organizing it,
Right.
We need to put it in a way that people can see it. Unfortunately, the typical accounting environment or bookkeeping environment, they're doing things for the sake of doing things, not for the purpose that they were intended.
Right.
The intention of bookkeeping, the intention of accounting, the intention of a profit and loss statement is so that a business owner can make decisions from that. And so ultimately, the first thing we do is identify key performance indicators. We want to know what's going to make the company profit. Not just money on the top line like you were talking about.
Right.
We got to know what's going to make money on the bottom line. And then we want to make sure that we understand our overhead enough so that we can do everything we can to stabilize that first.
Right.
Once we know we can get through every month, then we can get back to being innovative, creative, and developing. And then we also need to make sure we're structuring a real smart scaling plan. Unfortunately, I see people scale themselves out of business all the time because they forgot rule number one, DROOM. They go ahead and they're investing, they're doing things, they're leveraging, and it looks great, they're excited, they're getting busier, but they haven't created a cash flow plan that is going to help them to scale into the future.
Yeah, no, I see it all the time, and it's one of the things that scare me. As a business coach, the first thing when I asked somebody, I said, "Hey, who's managing your money?" and they say my CPA, that kind of scares me right off the bat because CPAs look backwards a lot, and they're helping to avoid tax. You got an expert like you that looks in the money and cash management and a little bit of CFO type stuff. Now we're looking future, and we got to go there. So how do you help your clients, one, pay the minimum amount of tax, and that's what we want to do, but two, go ahead and understand that we have to pay tax to grow.
Yeah.
That's an important thing.
That's right. One of the CPAs on my team always has a phrase that she says when people start saying, will this save me money on taxes? She always says, don't let the tax tail wag the business dog, right? And so when we look at that, we want to make sure we're making good business decisions first. If it makes good decision to buy a vehicle for your company, then that makes good decision. But don't do it because it's going to save you some money on tax, right? And particularly if you have the cash flow to manage those things, that's when you can take care of the tax provision. So the first things that we do is really get to understand how the business works. What are the people doing in the business, and what type of information do they need so that they can do more of the most profitable things like we were just talking about, and then going back to the basics. Let's just hyper focus on that. One of the things I know as one of these folks, as entrepreneurial people who start companies, we see a lot of squirrels and we get a lot of things that distract us every day. And so we want to make sure that we're interacting with our clients on a very regular basis. The challenge for most CPAs in the world is they get to talk to their clients once or twice a year, and there's no way they can be proactive doing that. They also typically build a firm around, like you were talking about, tax preparation, tax planning, and they're not doing it on business planning and business development. So we want to make sure that we're visiting with our clients and that we also are extremely honest. We like to call ourselves accountability partners, so that when we're talking to our clients, we're, again, very honest. we're telling them the difficult things that they may need to do to get going, we also need to understand their nature. One of the most important things for a small business owner to do is understand what they're natured to do and what they're not natured to do. If I've asked someone to work on something a couple of different times and they haven't started doing it, we start to identify, is it just simply something they're not going to do? So let's go to outsource. You know, one of the best things in today's world is the ability to outsource to honest, trustworthy people who you can go ahead and get some relationship building with, so they can act as just as if they were down the hall in your office, you know? And so sometimes we need to do that, and sometimes we just need to hyper-focus someone else in the office environment or on the team so that they can focus on the things that we know the CEO/owner is just not gonna do.
Yeah, we get there all the time. There's a lot. I really look at my clients and say, hey, look, you got to have 3 trusted advisors besides me. You need a good financial person, you need a good lawyer, and you need a good banker. And I didn't say get a new bank, I said a banker, because you know they move all over the place. But it's there, and it dumbfounds me certain times. Hey, go in and talk to your CPA about this. Go talk to your fractional CPA. Well, it's going to cost me $250 an hour to do it. Yeah, but it's going to save you $30,000. You know, what do you want to do? So how do you help them see that, and how do you show that the value you bring is really important?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question, because accounting, business management, those types of things are oftentimes undervalued because people aren't looking at it as an investment. So one of the first things I help people to understand is that everything on the expense side of their profit and loss statement should be looked at as an investment. If I have an office, is there a reason to have that office? If I'm hiring a front desk person, what value are they bringing to the company so that I can earn some extra income? They may not be on the business development team, but they better be supporting that experience that we're trying to portray. So we talk about looking at things like an investment. If you're going to invest in me or you or anyone for that matter, an attorney, an accountant, if you're going to invest in any of those trusted partners, let's start talking about it in terms of ROI. How much am I going, you know, ask your accountant, ask your business advisor, ask the question, at what point will I see a return on my investment, and what is the action plan to get there? So many people leave the room after a sales pitch and they either feel fired up about it but then don't take action, or they feel skeptical about it because they feel like they're being sold something that may or may not come to fruition. So ultimately what we're trying to do is help you to understand, if I was buying Coke shares, if I was going to go buy Coca-Cola shares, I would have an expectation that over a period of time I would make some money back on that, or else I wouldn't buy the shares at all. And so if we can de-emotionalize it a little bit and say, okay, if I invest in this advisor, let's ask the question, at what point will I see a return on my investment, and what are the things I need to do to get there? That'll help you to really understand the value of the people that you're surrounding yourself with.
Yeah, it's funny. It's one of the things I see all the time. Like I talk about it, the other business coaches that really focus on marketing. It's like, I'm not gonna say I'm not good. I'm pretty good at marketing, but here's where I understand. If we want to increase profit, I can increase your profit 100% if you're a small business by doing 2 things. You know, raise your prices 10% and cut costs 5%. There we go. But how do we do it? And the other thing we got to look at is operations. You know, people, marketing's sexy and they want to get there, but you know, talking operations and talking finance is not sexy. How do you and your firm, how do you kind of make it sexy? So I want to talk about it.
You know, we make it sexy by really offering the piece that goes with that, because one of the most important value adds that we have is the ability for a business owner to go to sleep at night.
Right.
You know, and so when we talk about it, my original company, my primary company is called Triumvir Financial, and Triumvir is a Latin conjugated version of the triumvirate, which was the 3 branches of government. And we think about business in those terms. So we have the technical skill. It's what most of the business owners we get to work with bring to the table. They're the plumber, they're the doctor, they're the lawyer. They're bringing service value or manufacturing value to the marketplace, and that's what they specialize in. Then is the marketing arm. I don't care how good it is. If you don't market it at some point in time, you're not going to have a market to sell to. So ultimately, you know, we remind people of the fidget spinner fad. Man, the first guy who came out with that did really well for a period of time until everybody else and their brother made them and sold them. So we need to make sure that we're marketing that thing. The last piece of that triangle of the triumvir is the financial backbone, right? And so what we like to do is explain to people that we're looking at this like a 3-legged stool. Fortunately, right now I'm sitting on a 4-legged stool, so I don't fall over,
it's
right?
Wobbly,
So it's a little wobbly, but hey, chances of me falling over are pretty slim. But if any of those 3 components are out of balance during our decision-making process, we need to refocus. So we should never let our accountants keep us from doing business. I always tell my good attorney friends, the best lawyer will keep you from doing anything to put yourself at risk, which means they won't have you do anything. And oftentimes accountants do the same thing, or financial people. They're looking at it going, gosh, we're gonna run out of money if we keep doing these things. Well, we need to be focused on the things that the marketing team needs so that they can deliver more people, but we also need to make sure the operation can handle more people, and so more business. And so as we go through, we try and make it as sexy as possible by putting a cool Latin word on it to start, but then after that, we really help them to understand that while we're going through the basic month, we're looking at this three-legged stool and making sure that it's in balance so that we feel really good about the way we're strategically growing or developing into our company.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. I really like the things you said today. I'm looking forward to the next couple of weeks so we can get deeper into some of this stuff. So David, if people want to get a hold of you and reach out and start talking to you about how you can really help them, how do they get a hold of you?
Right. One of the best ways is to go to our website, thepocketprotectors.com. It does have a "the" at the front and an "s" at the end, thepocketprotectors.com. Or they can go ahead and email me at david@thepocketprotectors.com, and we'd love to get in touch.
Well, that's awesome, David. That's awesome. So we got about 35, 40 seconds left. Who is your perfect client? Who do you like to work for, and why do you like to work for them?
Absolutely. Great question, and thank you for that. The most important thing is we want a client who's ready to change. You know, we talk to a lot of people, they've been in business for 20 years, they're having all these struggles, but they have all the reasons why they're struggling and none of the reasons why they're going to succeed. So we want someone who's wanting to develop. We want someone who's emerging and really developing something so that they can create wealth through their business. And that's our ideal client. We want small business owners. We don't like big boards to deal with. We don't want large C corporations that are trying to figure out how to go through some transitions. We want small business owners that really are working hard to make their money and just want a better way to do it.
Oh, that's awesome, David. That's awesome. I love it. Can't wait to get to know you better, and hopefully we can make a difference here in Houston and help these business owners. So I'm Michael Rager, your business guide here on Biz Talk TV on the Now Media Television Networks, and we're going to be back with more right after this.